Love, I don't think I could advise you. I don't think anybody can.
I did hope that with all your experience...
Oh, it's nothing to do with experience, love. It's the thing every woman must make her own decision about, just how far she's going to go.
Perhaps Mr. Howard would care to venture an opinion.
No, thank you. I don't want to be incriminated as a dirty old man.
And you know what that means.
Oh, dear. Princess Margaret had no lack of advice when she faced up to this same decision.
Yeah, and you know what she did? She did ignore everybody and did her own thing, and that's precisely what you'll have to do.
Yes, it seems as though I will.
You know, Miss Nugent, a fly on the wall of this room, I think you were talking about marriage.
You go and get your middy, love, and pay no attention to him. I'll give you 3 cheers, even if Peeping Tommy won't.
Yes. Perhaps it is reassurance I'm really seeking. Thank you, Elsie.
No, don't mention it. I'll send you the bill. By the way, how's our Annie taking to the fact that you're going middy?
I haven't really mentioned it. She has been rather distraught.
She's not still distraught, is she?
Oh, no, she's over it now. In fact, it's lovely to see her smile again after the horrors of the past fortnight. Anyway, I'd better be on my way. I mustn't make you late for work.
No, that's all right,
Thanks
love.
again.
Bye-bye.
Say goodbye.
Hello? Yes, she is. It's you.
Hello? Yes, it is. Oh, good morning, Mrs. Painter. It's the boss. Yes, I could. Yes, I will. Yes. See you at 10:30 then. Goodbye.
Which boss?
That is Mrs. Dawn Painter, bless her little heart.
And who's she when she's at home?
She's never at home. She's a Northwest Divisional Director of Charm Cosmetics.
I see. What does she want?
I don't know, but I will at 10:30, won't I?
Perhaps she's going to give you a rise.
Aye, and our Emily might get herself a see-through.
Listen, you will ask her, won't you?
Are you serious?
Yes. Another £3 a week and we'll be out of the red in 1972.
You must be joking, £3 a week.
Have a look.
Eh?
Result of hard work and sobriety. Well, part sobriety.
Have we really got this much stashed away? Oh, we're winning, kid. We really are winning, aren't we?
Yes, we really are winning.
Oh, get a load of this after your breakfast.
Well, what do you expect? Curlers?
Curlers? Nobody wears curlers these days. Ma'am, I'm talking about you.
I have a date with the boss.
Oh, not on the carpet, I hope, Elsie.
Should hope not, love. It's a woman. Oh, I see what you mean.
Well, you're acting very brave, Elsie, but you're not fooling me. I know you've got a nasty little caterpillar wriggling round in your stomach, haven't you?
You mean that something that smoking can't kill. Nevertheless, love, I'll take 20 off your hands.
Right.
Oh, there we are. Thanks a lot. Well, go on then. Wish me luck.
Oh, I'm sorry. Good luck.
Good luck, Elsie.
Oh, and if I'm not back in 3 hours, send your Bobby after me, will you?
Pardon? Would you come in, please, Mrs. Howard?
You.
Sit down, Mrs. Howard. I always like to take a special interest in the work of our newer area managers. In particular, I go through their monthly returns very carefully indeed. I've just been going through your returns for December.
Oh, there's nothing wrong with them, I hope, Mrs. Painter.
Overall, they're very good. However, there is just one thing that I find rather disturbing. I take it you maintain regular contact with your agents.
Yes, I do. Make it a point of seeing each one of them once a week at least.
Of course. Then you'll be able to tell me why one agent sold practically nothing during the whole month.
Oh, you mean
Mrs. Sidlow. Mrs. Mavis Sidlow. Those are her figures. Not encouraging, are they?
Well,
yes, Mrs. Howard. There is an explanation, I presume. Was she ill?
I'm afraid I don't know.
You don't know?
I called at the house 4 times. There was no reply. Even her neighbours don't know where she is.
She went away for a whole month and didn't tell you?
No, she didn't tell me.
Then I suggest you take urgent steps to locate Mrs. Sidlow and have a few very sharp words with her. If every agent disappeared into the blue whenever she felt like it, there'd be no cash in the bank to meet my salary. Or yours, for that matter.
Yes, I do realize that.
Good. Then I leave you to take care of Mrs. Sidlow. You've made an excellent start, Mrs. Howard.
Thank you.
See that your agents don't let you down.
I'll do that, Mrs. Painter. Good morning.
Good morning.
Coffee?
How did you guess?
Come on, shape yourself. I'm expecting a visitor.
Shape myself? Who's the visitor?
Mrs. Sidlow.
Who's Mrs. Sidlow?
My vanishing agent had a telephone call from her this morning. Oh, I understand you've been looking for me, Mrs. Tanner.
When's she arriving?
I don't know, but she's got a bit of explaining to do when she does arrive. I don't know who's going to like it least, me or her. Hey, can you imagine me, the heavy-handed boss?
Yes. Here's your opportunity. Mrs. Sidlow?
Yes.
Come in, please. Would you go straight through?
Oh, thank you.
Oh, hello, Mrs. Sidlow. Glad to see you back amongst us again.
Oh, Mrs. Howard, I can't tell you how sorry I am for going away like I did.
Yes, I was a little bit sorry myself. Well, why don't you sit down and tell me what happened?
Thanks. I haven't been feeling too good recently, you see. Then I get this call saying that my mother's ill. She's a widow, you know, and lives on her own in Liverpool. Well, just outside, actually.
Go on.
Well, I had to go and look after her. But it ended up with her looking after me.
You mean you've been ill?
Well, I think I've had a sort of breakdown. I just sat and cried.
Well, I'm very sorry to hear it, Mrs. Sidlow, but why couldn't you let me know? Couldn't you get your mother to phone or a neighbour?
I should have thought about letting you know. But somehow I just couldn't think about anything.
Well, if you had have let me know, perhaps I could put somebody in your place. As it was, I didn't know whenever you were going to go back selling. And if the one thing the customer doesn't like, it's two people turning up on the same day.
Is the business very run down then?
Well, it's not in the best of health, love. It needs going a lot of hard work to get it back to where it was. So I suggest you get stuck in as fast as you can.
I don't really feel well enough yet. If I could just wait for a week or two, you know, start again slowly, a couple of houses at a time.
I'm afraid that's no use at all, Mrs. Sidlow. What we need is a sustained attack on your district right now to make good the ground we've lost.
Oh, I see.
Do you need the job?
Yeah,
Badly.
very badly.
All right. I'll do the best I can for you. Though I feel I ought to warn you about the worst. It is quite possible that head office may say they want somebody to replace you.
Oh, do your best, Mrs. Howard.
Well, I've said I would, haven't I?
Oh, thanks. Bye.
Let's be having it. You didn't come around here to tell me you'd run out of tea.
No. The story I told you this afternoon, it wasn't true.
I see.
Well, at least it wasn't the whole truth. I didn't tell you the whole truth.
But now you want to.
Yes. I have been in Liverpool with my mother, and I have been ill, but
Yes?
I didn't go for the reason I told you. I went 'cause my husband's left me.
When did this happen?
About 6 weeks ago.
I'm sorry. Someone else? Is that the reason for your breakdown?
That's right.
Oh, I am sorry. Why didn't you tell me?
I was frightened.
Frightened? Frightened of me?
Well, yeah, my boss had let you down. After I'd gone, I realised I was foolish not to tell you everything. I knew you'd help me if I did. You will, won't you?
I'll do the best I can, love.
It's not just me, you see. It's the 3 kids. Men. They get you in some right messes, don't they?
You don't have to tell me that, love. Women can be a bit funny and all. Never mind. You leave Mrs. Painter to me. Time it is, but you're not going out of this house without a drink of tea inside.
All right, I just don't want Billy Walker going down my throat for being late, that's
Yes,
all.
well, pride won't fill your belly until lunchtime, will it?
Neither will humble pie.
Oh, would you credit me that one morning I've got to be on the dot
Now,
and we
look,
get up late.
Don't get flustered. If you played right today, you could do yourself a favour.
Oh, I'm doing Mavis Sidlow a favour. There's nought in it for me.
Well, if I thought that was true, I wouldn't let you do it.
Oh, you are a cynic, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Oh, I don't know.
Look, Elsie, it's the first opportunity you've had to solve a problem since you've been promoted. Now, if you play your cards right, when promotion comes along, you're going to be set up. Am I right or wrong?
Oh, I don't know.
You don't know. Look, love, they're selling cosmetics. They're not running a door-to-door problems page. All right?
All right. You better get off. You've got a buster face as well.
Billy Walker, Eat people like that for breakfast.
Yeah, that might be all you get.
Good luck.
Mrs. Painter?
Oh, send her in, will you, Janet?
Would you come in, Mrs. Howard, please?
I'm sorry I'm late, Mrs. Painter. The traffic on Market Street. I had to get off and
That's
walk.
quite all right, Mrs. Howard. These things happen.
I hope I haven't wasted too much of your time.
No. I can always find uses for my own time. And I never blame other people if I waste it. Do sit down.
Could I,
Yes, Mrs. Painter.
Do take Mrs. Howard's coat.
Yes.
You sit down, Mrs. Howard. Now then, I must be very brief, I'm afraid. Upstairs, I've called a sales committee meeting in half an hour, and among the areas they'll want to know about is yours. Now then, I want to be able to tell them that this little patch of downhill figures here is about to swing right up again, and I'm sure that you do too. Did you see Mrs. Sidlow?
Yes, I did.
Well?
Well, it seems she had a bit of trouble. Her husband's gone off and left her. Well, she's got her problems.
That's what she said to you. Fine. Now, what I really want to know is what you said to her.
Well, I said... Well, what could I say? I said we'd do the best we could.
Oh. Marital problems are not really our business, you know, Mrs. Howard. What about her returns?
Well, that's why. It does explain it.
Mrs. Howard, explanations are not necessarily remedies, you know. Very often they're merely excuses. Now, we all of us make excuses. If you'll forgive my saying so, the traffic in Market Street this morning was probably just the same as any other morning.
Well,
I'm not getting at you, but you do see my point. Now, did you make it clear to Mrs. Sidlow?
Yes, I did. I told her exactly what you would have done. I said it was in her own best interest to get the round back up to scratch again as soon as possible.
Good. You pointed out that her keeping the agency does depend on that.
Yes. She will need a bit of time to pull herself together, you know.
Time? Well, that's one of the things that head office doesn't supply me with, you know. Yes? All right. Yes, I've got them here. Oh, straight away. Now, Mrs. Howard, I want you to see Mrs. Sidlow again, and I want you to make it absolutely plain this time. She's got 2 weeks. If things are not back to normal, and preferably a little better, she's out. I can't deal with the rest of this now. We'll come back this afternoon.
I'm far from finished, Mrs. Painter.
I'm sorry, I do have the appointment, you know. Janet, will you fetch Mrs. Howard's coat?
Yeah, Mrs. Sidlow, as far as charm is concerned, you've got 2 weeks.
That's what she said.
Uh-huh. Oh, don't think I don't sympathise, but she has got a point, you know. I suppose you really do need the money. Yeah, of course you do. Daft question. Well, I tell you what. I'll do 2 things for you. First of all, I'll give you some advice, and I know from experience it's good advice. Thing is, stop feeling sorry for yourself and get off your backside. That's the first thing. Second thing, I'll see Mrs. Painter for you. I have an idea I can swing it.
Can you?
Yes, I think so, love.
Oh, thank you, Mrs. Howard.
Oh, that's all right. Do what I can. Well, now, I think you best be off, love.
Right.
Dinner ready? Oh, I'm sorry. We're talking business?
Oh, it's all right, love. We're just finished now.
Well, I'll wait to hear them, will I?
Well, give us a ring tonight. Better still, if you feel like it, call round.
Right. Well, I'll do that then. Bye.
Bye.
You know, it's daft she thinks of me as her boss.
Well, what's daft about that?
Yes, technically, I suppose.
No, love. Either you are or you aren't. And if you are, it's about time you started behaving as if you were. And remember what I said about favors? Don't give any away, and don't make any promises.
Hello, Mrs. Howard. You've seen to Mrs. Sidlow,
Yes, I've seen to her.
so we can move on at last.
Yes, we can go straight ahead.
Cases like this do take up a disproportionate amount of time, don't they?
Yes, I suppose I must.
Now then, those are the analysed returns from your agents for the last couple of months. It's our new system, you see. We've included a set of average figures from the whole country, so you can see.
Half a moment. Sorry.
The blue line is you.
Oh, that's me, is it? Oh, well, it looks all right to me. We're not doing so badly, are we?
Well, you weren't. You are down badly just at the end there.
Oh, yes. Well, of course, you can't expect to flog a lot of stuff just after Christmas.
Which is precisely why we should all make a very special effort, don't you think? Even the Mrs. Sidlows of this world.
Have you ever tried selling this stuff to women who are up to here in bath cubes and talcum powder till it's coming out of their ears nearly?
I have. That's rather good.
Oh, well, if you like twisting their arms, I don't.
Mrs. Howard, if your heart's not in it, you're absolutely free to leave the business.
I didn't say that.
No. Now, you've got another problem, lady, here, Mrs. Doreen Lindsay. She's new, and I think it might be the best thing to keep a close eye on her for a while.
How close is close?
Well, that's up to you. You might almost go out on her round with her next week. You might be able to guide her a little.
Well, I don't know if I can. I promise I might do something like that for Mrs. Sidlow, and I can't do them both.
Mrs. Sidlow? I honestly thought we'd finished with Mrs. Sidlow.
Well, we have. It's just that I thought I might go with her to get a roundup again. It's the same sort of thing as you suggested for Mrs. What's her
Mrs.
name?
Lindsay. Now, look. Mavis Sidlow is experienced enough to operate quite adequately without supervision. Mrs. Lindsay, on the other hand, may very well benefit from it. If you go out with Mrs. Sidlow, you'll be nothing more than a watchdog. We can't afford watchdogs.
Well, I thought just to get her back on her feet again, you know. I thought I might flog it myself.
No, I'm sorry, that's even worse. You're paid to organize the area. Now, look. You see that she starts selling on her own, or dismiss her. It's as simple as that.
Do you have to pressurize her like this?
You don't like it.
I can't say that I do.
And just before, you were accusing me of pressure selling, twisting people's arms. You didn't approve of that either.
No.
Mrs. Howard, I've taken the trouble to read your file. You used to work for Miami Modes, hmm?
Yes, I did.
Miami Modes. That shop and others like it just about invented pressure selling. Miami Modes should have a plaque up to commemorate it. Is it pressure selling or is it downright dishonesty? To sell a size 12 dress to a size 14 customer? Or did you never do that? Did you never make discreet little adjustments to the back of a frock? Oh, but it suits Madam down to the ground, when all the time it suits Madam like a 3-day beard.
All of which has nothing to do with Mavis Sidlow.
No, it isn't. As far as I'm concerned, she's caused quite enough trouble. She's fired.
Oh. Well, I hope you're going to tell her yourself. You don't expect me to do your dirty work.
I do expect you to. You're her immediate superior.
Well, in that case, you know what you can do.
Well, you leave me absolutely no choice. Consider yourself sacked, Mrs. Howard.
This morning you said I had 2 weeks.
Well, you haven't got 2 weeks now, love. You've got the boot.
But what about what you said?
Oh, for crying out loud, didn't you hear me?
You mean if you hadn't gone back, it'd have been all right?
If I hadn't tried so hard. Anyway, you're lucky. You haven't got a husband to face.
Wow.
Well, look, love, I'm not your boss anymore, so there isn't anything else I can do for you. So I'd best be off if I were you.
Well, I don't know what I'm going to do now. It's a good job I've got Lionel.
Right. You're lucky. My son's a long way away.
He's not me son, he's me... You know.
Your boyfriend?
You could call him that.
Oh. And how long's this been going on?
Well, you know.
No, I don't know. You come round here, you give me a heartbreaking story that your husband's left here, real tearjerker. Now, how long has Uncle Lionel been on the scene?
Well, I had to tell you that, didn't I? Well, I thought I might lose my job. I had to.
Your husband did leave you, didn't he? You didn't leave him by any chance.
Oh, no, he left me all right.
When?
A while ago, really.
You what? A while ago?
About a year. Well, I had to try. It was my only chance. I had to tell you. It was me job.
Mrs. Sidlow, if you ever want to see Uncle Lionel again, you better shift.
Oh, well, I mean, you're all right, aren't you?
Before
You went
I
in with that
disfigure
lot.
you, before I wrap this round your neck, Mrs. Sidlow.
Well, what would you have done?
I mean it! Well done.
Hello, love.
Why, I didn't expect you home so soon. I thought you were working out overtime every night this week.
I've got a telephone calling from Mr. Vine, the accountant, you know?
I haven't got any tea ready or anything.
That's all right, love. I don't mind waiting. Different tale for Mr. Vine this evening, eh? We're really getting out from under.
Alan, as I didn't manage to get out to the shops, would something from the chippy do you?
Oh, again?
Well, I think I've got a can of ravioli or something.
Look, no. We'll go out later and get some and give ourselves a modest pat on the back.
Well, no, I'll open that tin now. You need something now, Alan. Alan,
Yeah.
you know I went to see Mrs. Painter this afternoon.
I thought you went this morning.
Yes, I know. She asked me to go back this afternoon.
That's why you missed the shops. Anyway, what happened?
Well,
That's him, excuse me. Talk about Peter Vine, he's always punctual. Hello, Alan Howard here. Hello, Peter. Yes, I'm fine, thanks. Thanks for sending the statement. Makes rather better reading, doesn't it? Ah, you wet blanket. You wouldn't believe it was true, would you? No, not planning to do anything rash. As a matter of fact, I think I can give you another 100.
No, Alan.
Hang on.
No.
Get the bank book out of my jacket pocket, will you, love? Yes, I know. It's all right. It's all in the bank book. Yes, so these days it makes my favorite reading. Oh, she's fine, thanks. Matter of fact, if it wasn't for some of her contributions, we wouldn't be in this.
Alan, you can't give him another £100. There'll be no more contributions from me. I got the sack today.
Peter, can I call you back in a few moments? Yes, I'm sorry. You got the sack?
Yes, after all, you said to me this morning I go and talk myself out of a job.
Oh, Mrs. Blasted Sidlow. Oh, that's it, isn't it? That's it.
Oh, go on and slap me round the face or summit.
Why bother? I don't know why I bother at all. Who cares?